What I'd like to say is that taking his part during Solferino will be Mr. Tony Hunt, but that's the gentleman over there. But in the meantime, taking the part of narrator for this evening, we're very lucky to have Mr. Terry Waite with us.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was very short notice to get here tonight, but I must say that I'm delighted to join with you for this special celebration this evening, which is part of a great national event. When we celebrate 125 years of the Red Cross, an organization which must be known to most people around the world, an organization that seeks to bring some sanity and some humanity into situations which, by normal civilized standards, are neither sane nor humane. The universal work of the Red Cross seeks to alleviate suffering wherever it's found.
There's no one there! No one to help! Winter became the dead, the men and the horses. I must have walked 10 miles. At dusk I was in Castiglione. The ostriches had broken. The generals dead or gone. Not their wounded, not ours.
Soldiers fought at Solferino after 16 hours of confused mayhem. 3 field marshals, 9 generals, 1,566 officers, and 20,000 men were thought to be dead. 2 months later, the figure was revised to 40,000 dead or wounded. Medical help was available, but it was primitive and disorganized, and much of what there had been destroyed in the fighting. It was on that dreadful day that an idea was born, an idea that was to become the Red Cross. Henri Dunant, a Swiss businessman, observed the battle. Horrified by what he saw, by the numbers of dying who need not die, he began to organize relief.
Mr. Dunant came to us on the evening of that day.
He had a cart drawn by a horse, and in it were Austrian soldiers. Austrians.
I turned him away. I wouldn't listen to his words. My town was in flames. The people in my town lay dead and dying, and he brought Austrians to me. So I said no. No. And he went away. He came to me with his Austrians. He wanted me to take them in. And me already worse than a house full of French. No, I said. At first.
And I. It's not possible, I said. These men are Austrians. These men are my enemies.
And he said no. No. Tutti fratelli. Tutti fratelli. They are all brothers. All brothers. And we thought, we felt that we were wrong. After all, Hill was a good man, a kind man, and looking at the car, they were boys. Just boys. And so we took them in.
And we nursed them, along with the French, along with our own boys.
We got the water, us and the others.
We ran to the wells with leather buckets.
Right downhill we ran.
We carried it back to the soldiers.
It was all at first, giving water to the Austrians,
6 hours before, they've been shooting at us.
killing our brothers,
Destroying our town. The town will be before.
And now we were giving them water.
keeping them alive.
They're all just people. See?
People in pain.
Younger than my brother.
Hurting so much.
3 days we did that. 3 days before we had to stop.
And then, we did it again.
I don't know how much water we carried. Tons of it. Gallons of it.
How many times we climbed the hill?
Mr. Ginette wanted us to. He wanted us to.
See?
What Henri Dunant started on that day was to grow into a humanitarian organization that was accepted by all sides, all nations at all levels, working within the Geneva Convention, which also resulted from this movement. The backing of royalty and governments, generals and troops, the Red Cross worked ceaselessly to alleviate suffering wherever it was to be found. Dunant was given recognition for his work in 1901, when he was awarded the first Nobel Peace Prize. In 1910, he died, aged 82. The work went on and goes on still.
We witness the dramatic birth of the concept which led to the Red Cross, and now we see how it developed in the decades after the battle, and something of the work that has been done today. This piece contains statements prepared for us tonight by people involved in the work of the Red Cross from all over the world. And it finishes with the first performance of an original song, again especially written for this event, and it's going to be sung by John Polhemus, the Hailsham Players, the Uckfield Community College Choir, and hopefully yourselves. You're asked if you would like to join in at the appropriate time in the singing anew tomorrow, and the words will appear on the screen at the appropriate time. Dominic.
Formed a committee. Place ourselves in communication with the other committees already formed all over Europe. In order that what we do may be done fairly and impartially between the belligerents.
Colonel Lloyd Lindsay wrote those words in a letter to the Times newspaper shortly after the declaration of the Franco-Prussian War on July the 15th, 1870. Almost the first act of the newly formed committee was to launch an appeal for funds and resources. By the end of March 1871, nearly £300,000 had been raised, an astonishing sum. The committee decided to give £40,000 in cash directly to each side to relieve the immediate suffering. Lloyd Lindsay was given the task of delivering the cash, and with him went his manservant, Mr. Whittle.
He was a distinguished man, Colonel, sporting as he did a full set of whiskers and dressed in his uniform. Proud in his bearing was Colonel Lloyd Lindsay, and never more so now, and with never more reason than on that day. We carried £40,000 into Paris. Our white flag with the red cross was honoured by soldiers and patients alike, and we were ushered through the Prussian front line to take our aid to the embattled French.
I've been a professional for more years than I care to think of. I've fought in many battles and I've killed many men. And in my time I've seen some sights, brave men risking all, pain, death, suffering, fighting for the flag, for the crown, for the nation. And when they fall, well, sometimes in the darkness, in the chaos, all you can do is deliver the coup de grace.
That's why it works, you see. That's why the English colonel and his men walked through the lines untouched. Because we know, we're sure. And now this hope, this light, this fine idea. We can all make it work together.
Yes.
I know you speak the truth. War is different now. But even in the worst of times, we now have something to hang on to.
Yes. The white flag.
The Red Cross. A way of life.
A way to live.
A way home. Make it work.
This money, coming when it did, was a godsend. The manner of its coming was a miracle. Many lives were saved, and many wounded were relieved. There cannot have been in the whole history of warfare anyone more appreciative than us of this first gift, and of those which followed. War can never be a good thing, but now, at least it is in some ways less hard. Thank you, Mr. Whittle. Thank you, gentlemen. And my thanks to all those who worked so hard to make this gift possible.
It was a day to remember, a story for the fireside, and I was there.
With the help and support of many people from all walks of society, the British Red Cross grew from strength to strength, guided by its humanitarian objectives.
Furnish aid to the sick or wounded in war.
The improvement of health.
The prevention of disease.
And the mitigation of suffering throughout the world.
The British Red Cross gives skilled and impartial care to people in need and in crisis, in their own homes, in the community, at home and abroad, in peace and in war, working with their sister societies across the world, both Red Cross and Red Crescent.
In Rwanda.
Angola. Buenos Aires.
Haiti.
Colombia.
Yugoslavia.
Geneva.
Tunis.
Azerbaijan.
Lebanon.
Jakarta.
Burundi.
Iraq.
New Delhi. Croatia.
Abidjan.
Dhaka.
New York.
Georgia.
Tashkent.
Bangkok.
Hong Kong.
Peru. Moscow.
Manila.
Brasilia. Lagos.
Kuwait.
Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Voluntary aid detachments provided vital help in the two world wars, both here and abroad.
Dressing stations were established for those injured at sea in the fishing fleets.
First blood transfusion services from 1921.
Relief to the army of Haile-Selassie, 1935 to 36.
Red Cross parcels to the prisoners of war in World War I, 190,000 a week by 1943. At home, 243 houses were converted as convalescent homes.
The floods of 1947, relief work was undertaken in 30 countries.
And again in 1952.
And so it went on. After Hurricane Hattie in 1951,
The Iranian earthquake of 1962. New Forest Fire of 1976.
tens of thousands of people all over this country and all over the world were brought comfort in their hardest times.
In Ethiopia in 1983. In Somalia in 1992. In Rwanda in 1994.
Caring for people in crisis. The British Red Cross branches respond daily to the needs of our community.
Each year, thousands of people are trained in first aid. Throughout the country, emergency response teams are standing by to respond to trauma.
The Active Venture Centres bring new experiences and adventure into the lives of young people with special needs.
Youth groups in many towns that provide a much-needed focus for the energies of the young.
An expert tracing service that seeks to reunite those separated by war or natural disaster.
And everyday visits to the sick and needy at home and in hospitals across the country.
And today, these are messages and images from carers and cared for all over the United Kingdom, from Europe, South America and Africa, Asia and the Far East, speaking today from the heart of the work of the Red Cross.
I enjoyed my first active holiday, even though I was a bit nervous to start with. The people there are really kind and helpful. I remember, at the beginning of the week, we went on an obstacle course. When it was all over, I decided I wasn't muddy enough, so I went and rolled in a puddle. I got the muddiest person of the week award. I really enjoyed myself, and I look forward to going again.
Children cry out in accusation, but are so badly scarred mentally and physically that they may never recover.
Innocent children, the most unfortunate victims of war, are affected in ways which adults would never be able to understand.
Human dignity for children has been and remains one of the main principles of the Red Cross. Children, the future of the world, need love, security and freedom, physical and psychological harm. If they do not receive these, we have no future.
War does not spare children. Children may be the smallest victims of armed conflict, but they are no means the most insignificant. We must protect the children. From Louise, a Canadian Red Cross delegate, and Goma, Zaire, the look in a child's eye.
When I put my hand on his head, he didn't smile. He held out his arms pleading for tenderness, with a seriously intent expression, as if to say, I've seen things a child should never have to see, and I'm only 3 years old. When I took him in my arms, he said nothing, but just clung to me.
War brings chaos, and in the chaos of evacuation, families can end up many hundreds of miles apart. In Yugoslavia today, this is particularly true. The Red Cross tries to keep these families in touch. What follows now is a letter from a daughter in Libya to her mother in Zenica, central Bosnia.
Mother dear, the main thing now is for you to be strong, is to hold on until this crazy situation comes to an end. Maybe then people will come to their senses and start functioning in a human way. There aren't many people left like that, people with reason, heart and soul. Perhaps we'll survive better this terrible gate of our lives if we try to be more tolerant and a little more flexible to each other. But unfortunately, things are not so. No matter how far apart, we are always close. Mother, you must not give up. The words describe how much we need and love you just do not exist. Let our love take care of you and give you hope for our family reunion, and let us never be apart again.
2 words sum up the work of the Red Cross for me: thoroughness and impartiality. Many years ago, I went with the Archbishop of Canterbury to the headquarters of the Red Cross in Switzerland. We asked about our relatives and friends who'd been imprisoned during the First and Second World War, and within a few moments their records were produced, the records of the parcels they had received from the Red Cross and the visits that they had received all those years previously. That demonstrates the thoroughness. And secondly, the impartiality. Just a few years ago, when visiting the kidnappers of Western hostages, they complained to me that their relatives were being held in very inhumane conditions overseas. They said that they were not getting any mail and no communication came through from their families. I asked them to get letters to deliver to me from the families, which they gave me. I went to Geneva and handed these letters over to the Red Cross, and they were delivered to the prison many miles away, demonstrating the absolute impartiality of this organization, who will care for those who suffer, no matter what their race, what their background, or what their circumstances.
Thank you. Alma Rabatsa works with the Red Cross in Sarajevo. The song.